At the beginning of Wim Wenders' The American Friend, a sequence with Ripley talking to his painter friend ends with the painter asking if he wears his cowboy hat in Hamburg, to which Ripley replies,
"What's wrong with cowboy in Hamburg?"
This one line sums up not only the underlying theme of the whole movie, but also the whole new German cinema movement. The post-World War II influence that the United States had over West Germany is undeniable and helped the country recover from its horrible past and split from East Germany. But as the filmmakers of the new German cinema movement tried to show, this influence was starting to wear thin by the 1970s, and the promises of an all-American life were not all what they seemed. After World War II, Germany was in tatters. It needed a lot of rebuilding, not only in its infrastructure, but in its culture as well, to limit the possibility of any future authoritarian government from coming to power. After helping the economy recover through the Marshall Plan, setting up its new government, and saving the capital from falling into Soviet hands with the Berlin airlift, the US took direct control of Germany's culture as well. This did two things: wipe out the remaining Nazi ideals still ingrained in the psyche of the German people, and undermine the communist ideals of the neighboring East Germany. This cultural implementation of American ideals worked as Germany became a thriving westernized nation by the 1960s. The success of the American culturalization did, however, hurt the German film industry, as they failed to make many notable films during this period, leading to the '61 Berlin Film Festival giving no award for Best German Film, because no Best German Film was made that year. In response, 26 German screenwriters and directors wrote the Oberhausen Manifesto that called for a new German cinema, free of the stifling habits and conventions of the current German film industry. With this, and funding by the West German legislature, New German Cinema was born. More colder and less charming than the films of the French New Wave movement, New German cinema was defined by its ironic outlook at its subjects and its homages to film movements of the past. The recurring theme of the Americanization of Germany is also present, and as two of its leading directors, Werner Herzog and Wim Wenders, show in their films, the link between these ideas is intentional and natural. With Wenders' The American Friend, for example, American directors Dennis Hooper, Nicholas Ray, and Samuel Fuller are cast in lead roles as an homage to their work and reference to the American influence on Germany. Wenders uses the relationship of the German Zimmerman and the American Ripley as a physical metaphor for this. Ripley, through his connections and influence, turns Zimmerman into a criminal like he is. But, calling back that line from the beginning of the video,
"What's wrong with cowboy in Hamburg?"
Ripley's status as the lone American symbol in Germany earns him distrust from many, like Zimmerman's wife. To add to this, his influence is waning, just like America's in Germany at the time. The emptied and decayed state of his house in Hamburg, which looks just like the White House, works as a personification of the loss of American influence. Herzog's documentary Land of Silence and Darkness shows the abandonment of American principles too, but in a much more literal sense. To start, there's a blatantly clear example when the subjects discuss the difference of the European system of communicating to the deafblind compared to the American system that one subject still uses. But there's also Herzog's abandonment of the American documentary style. His focus on subjective truths and symbolism and images is a complete counter to the American documentaries that try to really only record the facts as objectively as possible. This style of filmmaking carries over to his narrative features as well, where in his film Stroszek, he uses clever and unusual images to tell the tragedy of a German trying to live the American dream. By presenting the ridiculous next to the dismal, Herzog makes a case against following the American way as the ideal life, as it hides its true colors under false politeness, frozen lakes, and grand money-wasting tourist traps. Herzog's use of these wacky and outrageous images to tell Bruno Stroszek's tragedy is countered by Wenders' use of smaller and more poetic illustrations to tell Travis Henderson's journey of self-discoverment in the seminal film Paris, Texas. It shows the American West in its entirety, from the grand modern cities to the vast empty deserts, and through traveling this, Travis learns that his goal to reunite with his wife and son are not for the benefit of himself, getting his all-American family back, but instead to give their relationship back after causing the split himself. Through this film, Vendors rejects the ideal ending of the family being completely reunited as Travis drives off at the end. This America that Vendors shows is the real one that even American films at the time weren't able to properly show, and just like Germany itself, Travis needs to leave this idealized America behind.